This week on LTC News, preserving the past.
To provide a secure, long-lasting, accessible resource for community members, researchers, students, teachers, and others.
Some cool news.
It's called Hydro. It's coming out spring 2019. It's an awesome sculpture that really captures the Industrial Revolution and the water turbines and the flow of water.
And police on skates.
It's something to talk about other than the stuff you have going on at work, but it's a great time. You know, the guys have been really into it, and a lot of camaraderie here. Something else to hassle each other about, you know, at work.
Stay with us. Welcome to LTC News. I'm your news anchor, Alanna Flood. On December 8th at the Janus Arena, the Lowell Police Department hockey team took to the ice to raise money for the Just Embrace ALS Fund. Their opponents were alumni from Drake High School. Although they weren't successful on the ice, losing 5-1, the Lowell PD raised $1,600 for the cause, about double what they raised last year.
Yeah, one of our players is close friends with the family, Dan Kingan. It was a cause that he brought up last year that he wanted to skate for. It was our first kind of one-off charity event rather than doing a whole season of fundraising towards one goal. We just did one game for him last year. It was pretty much just the Drake High School alumni team who's always been more than willing to come out and knock us around here on the ice. I mean, you're always extremely tight with the guys that you work with on shift. This is probably the tightest shift in the department here. In the locker room, we skate every Tuesday. It's something it's something to talk about other than the stuff you have going on at work. But it's a great time. The guys have been really into it, and a lot of camaraderie here. Something else to hassle each other about, at work. We've got a Facebook page and an Instagram page that have kind of taken off. We take kind of a different approach. Very humble, make fun of ourselves a lot, make fun of a lot of the guys on the team, whether it's team bios or, making fun of ourselves out on the ice. Pretty humble, just to kind of get people involved, get everyone laughing and having a good time. We're at 50 Canned Hockey, so it's 50 Canned Hockey on both Facebook and Instagram, or you can just search Lowell PD Hockey. We always have our fundraising links in the bio. We do hats and T-shirt sales pretty sporadically. But if you follow us on Instagram and Facebook, you can find those type of things and get involved if you like. Or just email us at lowellpdhockey@gmail.com. Yeah, January 27th is going to be a big event for us. We've played the fire department a few years in a row now. It's actually gotten pretty chippy, but it's a great rivalry. It's something that's going to be big. Hopefully we can make it bigger. It's big as Nels, but yeah. But yeah, so January 27th is the date. It'll be here again. We got the whole day. The Janus has been absolutely awesome to us, donating ice and letting us get out here and raise some money. So yeah, the fire department, January 27th should be a good showdown for us. The Heroes Cup is an event in Marlborough, Mass. once a year. That's a first responders event. So there's ex-military, EMS, fire, police. It's the largest tournament of its kind I think it's in the country. So up to 300 teams, all raising money for the Boston Bruins Foundation, and also each in their own foundation. So you raise up to $2,000 for the Bruins Foundation. Anything you raise in excess of that goes to whatever charity you guys are supporting. So it's a good way to get awareness out for your own charity, and then also to help a great foundation like the Boston Bruins Foundation out.
Anything you want to add? Anything I missed?
No, hey, love to have everyone on the 27th. The more full the stands are, the better the guys play. So hopefully it'll be a good game, probably a little chippy. Looking forward to it, though.
The police team meets the fire department's team on January 27th for another charity game at the Janus Arena on Douglas Road. For more information, follow Lowell PD Hockey on Facebook. The Southeast Asian Digital Archive, or SEADA, is a collaborative project at UMass Lowell to provide electronic access to historical documents of Lowell's Southeast Asian refugees. The archive had its official launch on December 4th at the O'Leary Library on the North Campus. SEADA preserves the history of the community's experience in Southeast Asia and their new home in Lowell for future generations.
Welcome everyone to the public launch of the Southeast Asian Digital Archive at UMass Lowell. My name is Sue Kim. I am the project director for the Southeast Asian Digital Archive. Our goals are simple: to provide a secure, long-lasting, accessible resource for community members, researchers, students, teachers, and others.
The Khmer Rouge tried to wipe out our culture from existence with their social cleansing by killing scholars, lawyers, doctors, using temples as weapon storage, burning books, and turning school into interrogation chambers. Currently, most schools are not talking about this dark period of time. So it is very important that we have this institution, we have this South Asian Digital Archive to document this for our younger generation.
March 2015, we had a community meeting and we identified the priorities for the collection as materials that are in danger of being lost, damaged, or thrown out in the trash, and the histories of elders, right? So the people who are passing away every day. So we are conducting our oral history interviews with community members, but we also would really like to partner with community organizations to do what we visit the community and we explain what we're doing, and then we have a kind of scan day, right, where people bring their photos and artifacts. We have permission forms translated into different languages, and then we can process those materials. Yeah.
We want to highlight the local stories of the community members, the organizations, and the allies and people who helped resettle them into the Lowell and Greater Lowell area. We also connected with the APA Smithsonian website, and we actually did a workshop with teachers to help them use the collection that we created in the SEADA network. And so there's actually lesson plans there for teachers, as well as primary documents for it under like searchable terms like Cambodian or culture, or like Khmer art, basket weaving, to kite making, to like documents from the Khmer Post, which is a Khmer ethnic heritage paper.
To hear that all the work that you've done collecting these important stories that will live on forever and that will help us to repeat the incredible story that happened in this city and how the Southeast Asian community transformed this city, knowing that all of our children now will be able to come here and access that forever is so important, and we can't thank you and all of our partners enough for doing that. Thank you all. This is an incredible body of work.
This is an ongoing project, but we definitely see this as both unique to the Southeast Asian community in Lowell, as well as part of the larger fabric of Lowell.
Keep checking the website as new materials are constantly being added. The cultural organization of Lowell, known as COOL, is a nonprofit whose mission is to strengthen the vitality of the arts and spur economic growth in Lowell. It was established in 2001 and worked in partnership with the city's Cultural Affairs and Special Events Office. It separated from the city a few years ago to become an independent organization. But now they're back together. On December 5th, COOL had a breakfast event and announced that it had reaffirmed its partnership with the city, and they showcased a few of the exciting projects for 2019.
We realized that our collaboration with the city and our partnership with the city is an extremely valuable asset. And with the new city manager, Eileen Donahue, she is so excited to really strengthen that arts and cultural economy as well. So we said, well, why not partner again? So we are separate from the city, but we're still working very closely with them. So we had our annual breakfast, which we haven't had in a while, so we were bringing back the COOL annual breakfast just to let the community know what we're up to and where we're going. We are working closely with the city to do public art projects. The fish. That's the kind of public art that we're trying to make sure that we're collaborating with the city on, getting more vibrancy in places that maybe don't look so vibrant. Maybe it needs a little pizzazz. There's a street piano now, so anybody could come up and just play that piano. And I think it was installed during Welcoming Week or maybe around that time. And folks it was actually a big hit. So in the winter, the piano has to go away just to protect all the things on the inside. We don't want it to freeze and get too cold and things get damaged, but it'll be back in the spring. But we're also working on a huge project that has been in the works for 7 years. It's called Hydro. It's coming out spring 2019. Be on the lookout in the Hamilton Canal District in Utopia Park. It's an awesome sculpture that really captures the Industrial Revolution and the water turbines and the flow of water. It's gone through so many different models. She had to do a scale model just to make sure that everything would look well. It started off as something that was going to be an interactive art display, so kids were going to go down a slide, but we realized maybe that might not be the safest idea. But we still wanted people to interact with the art, so she altered it in different ways to make sure that it was something that could be still a beautiful piece, but something that people could walk around and walk in and families could enjoy as they're walking through the revitalized Hamilton Canal District. Also coming out in 2019, the cool walking tour app, which is really cool. So it's the first beta version we have right now is just the gallery and museums that are right in the downtown area. So it's making it accessible for folks who are in the city and people who are not from the city. You stop at the visitor center first, and it takes you all the way around right back to the visitor center. So you go to places like the Brush or the Whistler and everywhere else that's in between. User-friendly, we definitely want to hear feedback, and there will be more tours to come. Cool has gone through many transitions over the last few years, but we are looking at a bright future, and we are reinvigorated and revitalized and ready to usher in 2019 with all kinds of vitality.
You can check out Cool online on its Facebook page or visit its new location at Mill Number 5. The new bridge spanning the Pawtucket Canal downtown took a step forward this month. Steel pieces began arriving on December 4th and were assembled on site. On December 11th, the pieces were hoisted over the canal by 3 cranes as the construction crew continued to join the bridge sections together. The bridge is 87 feet long and 38 feet wide, with space for two-way traffic and sidewalks. The bright blue color of the bridge was chosen to contrast with the red brick and granite walls of the canals. The Development and Planning Department expects it to be open to the public sometime in 2019. Today in the Sunspot, Chris Scott, enterprise editor of the Lowell Sun, sits down with City Councilor Vesna Nuon to discuss the election lawsuit.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Chris Scott, the enterprise editor of the Sun. Thanks for tuning in to this latest edition of Sunspot. With me is City Councilor Vesna Nuon. Vesna, thank you for coming in today.
How are you?
This is your second or third appearance on Sunspot. I appreciate you coming back.
Thank you for the invite.
You're welcome. So I'd like to talk to you today, and you can share with our viewers your thoughts on how the City Council is elected and how the school committee is elected. It came up at the recent City Council meeting. You and another City Councilor, I believe it was Ed Kennedy, fanned out across the city to hear how people think about the way these folks are elected. Should they be elected at large, or should we have some specific nooks and crannies in the city that they should represent? So if you could just talk in, I guess in general terms to start with, what you heard out there. How many meetings did you have? And what you heard from the residents?
Well, again, thank you for the invite.
You're very welcome.
A greeting to all the residents of Lowell. Well, after the election, I was tasked to continue the ad hoc subcommittee. I was chair with the subcommittee members, Ed Kennedy and John Leahy.
Oh, it was Leahy, right?
Yes,
yep.
Yes, and we've been travel because we thought the best way to hear from the resident is to go to every neighborhood as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So we did. We traveled almost 5 months from March, I think, to August to various neighborhoods. So we did, and so did other councilors as well, who's not on the subcommittee.
Right.
But they too like to hear, learn how people feel about the current voting system. The question we posed to people was, how do you feel about the current voting system? Out of those 6 meetings.
6 meetings?
Yes, sir. 6 meetings, we learned that approximately 80% of the people want to be included, want to be involved, and they want representation. That will ensure that they be included, involved, and that's how they feel. 20% of the people feel that the current system work okay.
That's pretty overwhelming for a change.
Yes, for change. That's correct. They did expand on why that involvement, why that be included feel like, because they said that it wasn't a surprise to us really at the subcommittee, because we keep saying as a council that we are a very diverse city, and that diversity should reflect in the government work best when we reflect in the representative of in the community, and they don't feel that.
Vesna, we were talking off air about the current system, and 9 councilors and 6 school committee members are just elected at large. And we were talking about efforts that the city council has made to try to get more people to run. That really hasn't worked. Do you really believe that if the current system is tweaked to say councilors and school committee members are elected to represent certain neighborhoods that might be underrepresented at City Hall, do you think that will have a real impact? I mean, do you think that would work?
On the voter turnout?
Yes.
I think so too. Granted, the local election is the most important election in the city, right? But yet, you look at presidential election, you have almost 60% turnout, right? You have the state election, almost 47%, and the city, for some reason, between 15 to 18, and somewhat like that. Why?
Yeah.
Why? Partly, I think too, because the message that we learned from the neighborhood meeting, or we call it listening session, is that that they don't feel included. They don't feel that their vote count, or their vote have any meaning. And that's really something that we have to take note of, and we did took note of, and we did report it to the full council, or I did at least, the last Tuesday meeting, that, look, this is what people wanted, and it's the right things to do. It's to make sure that every citizen feel included and involved in our process.
Do you think we've gotten to a point where there will be a change? Exactly what that change is still has to be worked out about, but don't you think we've crested the hill, or we've rounded the corner? There will be some change coming.
I'm confident because most, if not all, my fellow councilors feel that there's a need to have representation on the council, whether that be changing the system, tweak it the way you said it. And
that's a poor choice of words.
One of the things that came up was they want a hybrid. Some said in the meeting, but the purpose of the meeting going there was not to talk about the mechanic of those changes or the pending litigation.
Yeah, I'd like to talk about that just for a couple minutes too, if we could, before.
But the purpose was to ask how they feel about the current voting system should change. So 80% say that should be changed. We should change that. So the mechanic of it, somehow we didn't want to go in there to talk about it, but the hybrid, the tweak from the district combined with at-large came up, and that they're saying that that will ensure representation.
Do you have a preference? You've been involved in the city for a long time. You've been on and off the council. You've been on the ZBA. You've been active, in the nonprofits. What do you think is the perfect system?
I think the hybrid system will work.
That is,
you would have. We have to work on the number of say each neighborhood. Let's say the Acres, Centerville, Pawtucket would have a representation in district, and then whoever from those district candidates who want to run at large, they can do at large. Every of the neighborhood do have representation, and then from those community or those neighborhood, whoever want to run at large, they can do that. So I would let me throw a number. That's not the number that we should work on. But let's say we have 9 districts and 4 at large.
Okay.
Right. Those the number, and that we granted that that each of the districts are going to have relatively the same number of residents. Right. So when if that happens, what's going to happen is that it's ensure representation, right? And I bet you it's going to increase the voter turnout because now they feel involved and that now they feel included in the process.
I know that the mechanic, that's just general.
Right.
But under your vision, would you retain a school committee?
Oh, I mean, I think the process, the process of how to go about doing that. I think I don't know that well. Okay. I could be wrong. Maybe if the council wish to change the charter, we probably have to do home rule petition thing. So while we're looking at change charter, we're talking about the school committee thing. I don't know. I think that may come into a discussion whether or not that one of the issues. But right now, the focus right now is on the city council and how we elect our city councilor.
Now, I'm being cognizant of our limited time here. When would you like to see this done? There's a city election next year.
Right.
It can't be done in time for that, right?
I don't think it would get done on time, but the urgency is there to resolve the lawsuit. And if we signaling to the plaintiff and the mediator, because granted, mediator was appointed by the court. He or she, I don't know whether the gender of the mediator, will have to report back to the court as to how serious we are in going into mediation and try to resolve this lawsuit. We want to signal in a positive note that that we want to do that. And granted, you know what? I want a headline where the Lowell Sun, Boston Globe, wherever that to say voting right plaintiff pray the city for just resolution, and that's an awesome thing for the city.
So you're referring to the civil lawsuit that was filed against the city. I believe it was last year by about a dozen or 13 residents that are trying to promulgate this change.
Right.
And there's a big date coming up in that lawsuit, and that's mediation next week. Tell us about that a little bit.
Well, I don't know. I know that there's December 18, court appoint mediator to sit down with both the plaintiff and the city to see if we can come up with resolution, a way to resolve it. And I guess I hope that this past Tuesday meeting and from all the minute of the council that we have enough to signal to the plaintiff that majority, if not all the council, want change, and we want to resolve this as soon as possible.
I'm sure you're aware that the plaintiffs in this case has requested from the city thousands, millions of documents, and that's been an expensive process to try to gather all those documents. You're making it pretty clear here right now that as a city councilor and the chairman of this subcommittee, that you want to see this resolved before there's any more. You personally believe that there should be a change to the system, but as a city councilor too, I mean, fighting this lawsuit is, well, how do you feel about that?
Well, you spoke of a discovery of thousands of documents requested from the city. You spoke of that in terms of the cost, the monetary cost, right? If this matter is prolonged, right? But I'm also concerned about the reputation of the city in terms of those documents is not going to be looking favorably to us. I give you example, the hiring practice in the city. That's going to come up. There's no question about it, right? The way each and every of our department, does that reflect? Okay, so that too, it's not going to be something that we are looking forward to see, right? So you don't want that to come out, but right now they do that. They do that to build their case.
So some dirty laundry could come out there too, if is what you're saying.
Could be. You know that the city has under Madam Managers Alanna Nuon, who's how we have a working group in terms of looking for to diversify staffing in the city department, whether that be city, police, fire, and the chief has been very active, both chief, in getting out there, educate people about how to apply for the job in the city in terms of the fire, the police, through training, through civil service exams and stuff like that. So I want to see more of that. So we do have a working group right now to change that. But the past, and that's what we're talking about, that's where the discovery will come. And that's not going to look that great for us.
I've just got to interrupt. We only have a minute left. You've made your viewpoint very perfectly clear today. There are 9 city councilors. You're one of 9. Do you feel that all 9 share the same sentiment on this issue that you, or are there some councilors who reflect the 20% of the people that you heard from over the last several months that don't want any change?
Well, like I said, I hope that majority of us will see that.
But what do you think, though?
I hope that all of us will see that. Let me just take it. I hope that all of us will see that, but I'm confident that majority of the council see there's a need for change. And what kind of change is, that's it. We need to iron that out, but we need to signal to the plaintiff that we want to resolve this lawsuit, and let's sit down, let's talk, and how we go do that.
Terrific. Well, it seems change is in the wind. Change is good, right, my friend?
Change is good, sir.
Thank you, Vesna.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in. Good luck on the City Council, particularly in the new year, and good luck with your re-election. Thank you for tuning in to this latest edition of Sunspot. We'll be back in another couple weeks with an interesting guest. Have a good night, everyone.
That's it for this edition of LTC News. You can find us on LTC channels 8 and 99, online at ltc.org, on Roku in the LTC News playlist, or get the link on Facebook. I'm Alanna Flood. Thanks for joining us.